My question is as follows. How do you respond to allegations that two major motion pictures, The Fifth Estate and We Still Secrets, the documentary, are gross misrepresentations of WikiLeaks, the organisation, and of your personal history?
Well, it's quite interesting. I suppose that if you woke up one day to discover that Universal had just made a $2.5 million documentary about you that you didn't have any input to, and that DreamWorks and Disney have made a major motion picture with, I assume, a $40 million advertising budget, and it will be out in September 5, just 2 days before the election. Well, you'd find that process pretty intriguing and pretty interesting. It is fascinating to see how the whole thing works. In relation to the documentary, which is screened in Australia, We Still Secrets, if you go to wikileaks.org/I/HTML/Gibney-transcript.html, or you just Google WikiLeaks Gibney transcript, I think will do. You can find a really very interesting analysis of that, and it's. I think that thing should be a study for film students. That how you chop up people's interviews and take words out of context and use text overlays to convey a certain impression, etc. It's quite interesting. I think ultimately that documentary it's probably positive ultimately in the sense that even here outside the embassy we see damn posters for the thing. So it's elevating our profile. It's a fairly typical attack where you build someone up to knock them down. But in the process of building them up to knock them down, you do build them up. And similarly, for the DreamWorks movie, I actually get along quite well with the actor, Benedict Cumberbatch. The movie itself is, it's based upon the two worst books and so on. I think ultimately it will probably be helpful, ultimately. There are aspects of it which are absurd, such as claims that it tries to imply that we helped Iran build a nuclear bomb and so on. So it's really quite tabloid in some places. But ultimately, I think the advertising budget of $40 million is going to push into that thing, and some pretty decent actors, increases our platform. An amusing anecdote in the We Still Secrets documentary, 3 times an attack is presented under the basis that one of my teenage nicknames, pseudonyms, internet names, was Splendidi Mendax, which is Latin for nobly untrue. And this is then spun as some kind of psychoanalysis that is 20 years ahead of its time. And somehow I'm trying to self-describe who I am now based upon this description as a teenager, and therefore nothing I say now can be trusted. 3 times that is presented, that theory. But of course, this is just a joke by a intellectually pugnacious teenager. It's a bit of showing off because pseudonyms are inherently untrue. That's a pseudonym, right? So Splendidi Mendax, it's the inherent but noble untruth in having a pseudonym. So I find it's laughable and absurd that those sorts of attacks are taken, but that's the sort of level that we're dealing with.